Those who master their body can achieve many things, and bodyweight training has become all the rage these days, and I love to see it. Whenever I do calisthenics, I still always feel like Goku prepping for Namek, Ippo prepping for a match, Rock Lee trying to improve himself, or even Baki and Kenichi prepping to impress their ladies before doing the most important form of cardio. Calisthenics can do absolutely outstanding things for you and build functional strength, muscle, flexibility, and mobility, all while making your physique look pretty damn good.
But if not careful, they can potentially cause unnecessary damage. So let's break down how to fully improve your calisthenics training so that you can do this for years to come, like your favorite characters, and just be like strong, badass, and fit all your life.
The reason this is so important to me is because while I love calisthenics to death, I have sadly made many mistakes across my fitness journey and have gotten many stupid injuries because of that, and I don't want that to happen to y'all, so let me help y'all.
First up, there's this notion that calisthenics causes less injuries than other forms of resistance training, which I personally don't think is 100% truthful, but I'll go further in depth along with other calisthenic myths you may not know as this video goes on. For starters, one thing that tends to sneak up on people who only train calisthenics is overcompensating muscle groups.
For example, calisthenics is primarily all compound movements, meaning multi-joint, multi-limb, multi-muscle movements. Now, usually that is a phenomenal thing and helps you see faster results because it builds more muscle and overall a lot more strength. Also, it's just strengthening the entire body as a unit, and most of the time helping you to prevent injuries as everything on your body is equally getting stronger. Or so you would think.
The thing that tends to sneak up on many people is when they don't realize some of their muscles that are working during the compound may not be as strong as other corresponding muscles. So for example,
when you do a push-up, you're working your triceps, shoulders, core, and chest. When you do a pull-up, you're working your lats, traps, rhomboids, biceps, and forearms. All it takes is for one of those muscles to not be as strong as the corresponding ones during a movement, and then you may start to notice some random pain gradually develop. Now, because those certain areas of the body aren't as strong, they'll have to overcompensate like a fitness junkie realizing abs aren't actually all that important to attracting the hot girls they want.
Fuck you.
And that's when impingements in the muscles can start to develop, or even things like tendinitis.
These suck and can take a long time to heal, but as someone who's been to physical therapy many times when he was younger, this is how you can prevent it from happening. Firstly, for shoulder health, make sure you are doing exercises with scapular control. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I really love the YTWL exercise, and I really think this will just help you just prevent so many issues from down the line if you do this either daily or every other day, all right? It's just so beneficial for you.
Not only taking time to fully warm up your joints, but also incorporate exercises like light dumbbell wrist curls, slow and controlled. Also look into getting yourself some of those super cheap finger extensor bands, which come in different resistances, which help the forearm strengthen the extensor muscles of the forearm. And for your shoulders, do not skimp on the rotator cuff, all right? Invest in some resistance bands and do some band face pulls, band pull aparts, and external and internal rotations. These will save you a lot of grief, trust me from past experience. And for your legs, work those hips like Jane Fonda. All of these together will help fortify you. But also, all calisthenic enthusiasts should just invest in different handles like gymnastic rings or others that let you adjust your grip. The straight bar pull-up is a phenomenal exercise, but has been known to cause a lot of elbow issues for many people. These can actually help circumvent that.
Next up, when it comes to building muscle and strengthening those joints and tendons, in addition to those exercises, I also recommend something I call the AB method, which is just to help maximize your muscles' work. And it's just a simple thing of blending time under tension and isometrics.
All you do is when you go down in the movement, hold for 2 seconds and then explosively push up. I always used to lose count when I did these. So what I started to do when I went down was I would go hold AB and then push up and then back down, hold AB, and then push up again. This works with pull-ups where you just hold yourself up in the upper position, AB, lower yourself down, pull yourself up, AB. Works with dips and works with Steven's mom. In addition, you can also utilize prisoner calisthenics like we talked about in depth in my Tough Like the Tunes and the science behind why they are so effective, where instead of doing slow reps, you can also incorporate high rep bouncy partials to get nothing but tension on the muscles. I personally like adding these to the very end of my workouts because the pump it gives you is otherworldly. And high reps in general can get you great gains with standard calisthenics. My friend the Bioneer has a great video on that. But to be honest, in my personal opinion, it can get to a point where you're doing so many reps that it can become a bit boring at times. So that's why it's always fun to learn those more advanced moves. However, those more advanced moves on a non-fortified body can do more harm than good. And if you have a weight vest, backpack, or weight belt, you're only gonna get stronger and build more muscle faster with it. However, make sure your form is controlled controlled and you're not ego lifting calisthenic style, because that will just give you more injuries to deal with and a longer recovery process that did not need to happen.
I want y'all to safely make gains. With all that said, as someone who loves calisthenics to death, and I always recommend it, there are some calisthenic overinflations which I see from time to time, which usually come from Dunning-Kruger effect, the swimmer's body illusion, or even tribalism. All of which we've talked about in depth before on this channel. Going back to people saying calisthenics causes less injury than weights, I think there's a severe lack of nuance to that particular statement, because
majority of the time, it's the people who, when you see how they used to train, they did very heavy weightlifting, but they skimped on their primers, or they just did a bunch of ego lifting, or they just lifted with very poor form.
Like in those situations, of course you got injured, you weren't properly doing the exercises. Again, coming from someone who absolutely adores calisthenics, I don't know if this is potentially a hot take perhaps, but like if you actually, took the time to warm up fully, did your primer exercises, and then when you did your exercises, you did them with good form, and then you also made sure you were progressively overloading gradually, not too fast, not too slow or anything like that, you could potentially be in a better position with results for yourself. Because here's the thing, I have been a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer since 2010, so well over 15 years at this point. But the thing that I find most notable about calisthenics is calisthenics can be a lot harder for beginners than with weights. Because here's the thing, all right? So for example, let's say I gave you a 10-pound dumbbell and I was like, all right, lie on this flat bench, press it up, all right? Even if it's like really, really lightweight, that still counts as a dumbbell bench press, and we can build up from there.
Sadly, not everyone can get down and do a single push-up. Sure, we can start with a wall push-up and an incline push-up and a knee push-up if someone has absolutely no equipment, but a lot of people can still progress faster, incrementally increasing their weights, but also on a subconsciously psychological level, there's this visual thing of seeing yourself gradually upping the weights each week. And also, not a lot of people can do a pull-up, and it takes them a long time to really build to it, especially when we start doing assisted stuff. But everyone can do a lat pull down. And also it's very rare to see anyone do a freestanding handstand push-up or even a handstand push-up against a wall, but everyone can do a shoulder press.
Another thing I sometimes hear is people saying that calisthenics will make you more athletic than any form of weight training. And I gotta be like, wait, what? Because that is another statement that straight up lacks nuance, because what specifically are you talking about?
It is correct that if you are strong at calisthenics, you are much more athletic in areas, especially more so than the average person, because it builds a lot of real world functional helpful strength. But if you only do calisthenics, that doesn't mean you're going to be more athletic than the actual athlete depending on what sport you're talking about. Look at some of the best athletes on the planet. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Usain Bolt, Adrian Peterson, Michael Phelps, Cristiano Ronaldo, GSP, Mighty Mouse, John Jones, and more. All of them mixed weights with calisthenics, but didn't only limit themselves to just calisthenics.
I know people love to bring up Mike Tyson and his old crazy training routine, but something they always fail to acknowledge is the fact that this is Mike Tyson as a kid, all right? He had incredible genetics that Cus D'Amato took advantage of with his training, all right? If I gave 100 random people, hopefully stopping them from finding that poor gorilla, and then made them do that routine for 1 year straight, all right? You would have 100 different results because every body is different and reacts differently. And not everyone would look like Mike Tyson. Some would actually look smaller than they are because of just how much stuff this is going through this, especially when you see the diet that he had along with it. Same thing with Bo Jackson, an incredibly hard worker, but also blessed with incredible genetics. The swimmer's body illusion is in full effect here. And the thing that happens to a lot of people is they tend to get very tribal for something they love. Instead of just being like, oh, I just personally like this because it lets me stay consistent and I have a lot more fun with it, they usually end up like,
those who are not with me are against me.
My point is this: have fun and find something you can stay consistent with, but don't let pride or ego blind you from other areas of improvement. Like Uncle Iroh said, it is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it only from one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others will help you become whole. It can make you more powerful.
Hell, a great show all of y'all can check out is Physical 100, where they have all these different type of athletes from different fitness things compete against each other. It gets me hooked every time a new season comes out. If you made it this far in the video, type Caliweight Goku, because our boy is a hybrid athlete with how he trains. And they tell me, like, what do you personally prefer doing? Do you personally prefer calisthenics over weights? Do you personally prefer weights over calisthenics? Or are you the one who's like, yeah, I love doing both? Because I think that's just the best way. Like, there's no like limitation there. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna incorporate things I love from each of these and improve myself. Also check out my free protagonist course I've given away in the pinned comment right now just to help y'all get in shape for summer. And if you're interested in raising your power level with me in real life, just join my coaching program. Then all you gotta do is click that link in the description box. We'll talk on Zoom, see if it works for you, and then yeah, that sounds great. But I hope this video has been informative and helps y'all, and I really want y'all to, like, you know, just use your calisthenics, but also just be safe when doing them, because there's just so many benefits to doing it. But remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, and don't forget, Momentai. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and go do some push-ups like Goku.